With huge mangas like Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia and Chainsaw Man all coming to their final chapters, the manga scene is about to change dramatically. So with these top new gen mangas ending so soon, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what manga are going to replace these in the coming months and years. And when there isn't a definitive answer to that, I think we have a solid idea on what manga is going to rise in popularity in the absence of these bigger titles. So I would say that the primary sort of big five we have going on at the moment was One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Chainsaw Man, and My Hero Academia, but that one is a bit debatable. Now don't get me wrong, there is probably some other mangas where at certain times, maybe during their peak, were more popular than these five. However, it's pretty clear that these five mangas have been relatively consistent in terms of their viewership and fandom for quite a few years now. However, My Hero Academia has already finished its manga, Jujutsu Kaisen has got 4 more chapters to go, 5 if you aren't including chapter 267, and Chainsaw Man is clearly nearing its end, with Pochita eating the Ear Devil in chapter 172, then Denji throwing it back up, bringing back ears to the world, but then eating the Mouth Devil. And I doubt we're going to see the Mouth Devil come back in the same way as the Ear Devil, and the series clearly can't continue without mouths, so we must be nearing the final stages of Chainsaw Man as a manga as well. So that just leaves us with One Piece and Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, which should carry on for at least the next 4 to 5 years now with where they are at in their story. And these two series should remain in the top 5, assuming Boruto keeps doing what it has been doing so far, as it seems that the fans are loving the series after the time skip. But we obviously aren't just going to have 2 main manga, so let's cover which manga are most likely to get a massive burst in popularity after this change. So first of all, I honestly believe that Gachiakuta will become part of that big 5. And the reason I say this is because it has all the components that make a series not just great, but insanely popular. It has incredible artwork with some of the best panels and imaginative scenes in manga at the moment. It has a great MC and supporting cast, especially Rudo, which has such a well fleshed out backstory, with his character progressing immensely chapter by chapter. Also, his powers make every single fight, or at least the anticipation behind each of his fights, amazing. Having the power to give immense use to broken or forgotten objects, and the way that this was foreshadowed at the very beginning of the series was just and with him still having power-ups that are yet to come, I can't wait, and I'm sure Gachiakuta fans also cannot wait to see where he ends up as a character. Also, don't even get me started on the world building. The symbolism and the real world implications behind Gachiakuta's world is possibly the best I've ever read. I'm starting to realise while making this video that there really isn't anything to hate about Gachiakuta, and if it wasn't for its relatively small fan base, which does actually take a toll on the series' likability, at least in my eyes, I would undoubtedly say it's my favourite manga, maybe even of all time. Which isn't necessarily difficult since I wouldn't call myself the connoisseur of manga, but I know a decent amount about a few series at the very least. But the action is incredible and the concept behind the power system in the series is amazing. I think it's definitely a first for a power system like this, but it allows it to be so versatile when it comes to introducing new characters and new abilities. For example, we could see a villain or a cleaner in the future who treasured a freaking microwave and the powers would still undoubtedly be amazing. The villain is pretty good and has enough mystery surrounding him that makes it extremely enjoyable to read the series week by week and uncover more and more mysteries surrounding his character and his true powers. It also has many objectives that the series can move towards, which is different from other series which just kind of jump around aimlessly. For example, the Watchman series, we don't know what it is, the powers of each one of them, where they all are, and the creator, and the reason I bring this all up is because we still have so much more potential in revelations and information behind this series in the future, which is another quality of a great story. Take Jujutsu Kaisen for example. We had so much anticipation throughout the entire series, they kept us viewers intrigued week by week, and the intrigue complemented the action we got each chapter, as well as the twists and turns that we went through as viewers, and hence why the series was so insanely popular. Obviously, it's anime, is partially responsible for its success, but we can't take away the amazing series that Gege had created, to which the anime adapted perfectly. Anyways, I think Gachiakuta is slightly slept on, or at least overshadowed by more popular series. But with the shadows clearing, there is no doubt in my mind that people will start to pick up the series causing it to rise in popularity, and hopefully we may see an anime for this series in the future, which I think was actually recently confirmed a couple months ago, or at least there was companies looking into creating an anime, which would cause this series to grow even further. Anyways, next up on the list I have Kagurabachi, which, believe it or not, started off as a meme. Well, I say that, but I think the memes that the series was goated after one chapter weren't entirely memes. The series did start off amazingly, setting up for the future events, as well as establishing a solid power system and main character straight off the bat. Obviously, the insane glazing that the series got was all just a joke, but the series was actually unironically quite solid from the get-go. And I think with the popularity that it got from its initial launch, people have started to realise that the series has actually got some insane potential. It ticks all the checkboxes: a great protagonist, a clear set goal, great supporting cast, great mystery and anticipation, great villains, great fights and action, and the list could just keep on going. I think where the series slightly lacks is in how narrow it seems the world building is, as it seemed as though, unlike most series, all of the action kind of revolves around maybe 20 characters, and the rest of the people in the series are just kind of there as filler. Whereas other series like Gachiakuta or Chainsaw Man, or the best example being One Piece, try to incorporate as many people into the story as possible, as it creates a sense of anticipation, as since the whole world is involved or at stake, any new characters can appear or become important. Also, it makes the scenes or scenarios more impactful, and us as a reader feel more as though what we are reading actually matters to that series' world, creating scenes which are much more impactful. However, since the broadness isn't quite there, or at least not right now, the impact just feels slightly underwhelming. However, this series is in its early stages, and from what I'm seeing, everyone, myself included, is loving reading this series. And because it's the mangaka's first manga, much like Gachiakuta, there is still so much more potential for the series to grow in scale, and a small issue I have with the series can easily be fizzled out. Now, I don't know much about Sakamoto Days, since I've only read the first sort of 100 chapters, but from what I've heard from the people who have caught up, this series should become one of the biggest that is out there. So I can't say anything about the series as a whole, except from what I've heard and read so far. However, apparently this series is entering its later stages, so maybe it will rise to that top 5, but only for that sort of ending of the series, for it to then be replaced by the next big manga, which we will see. Now, I did mention that Boruto would be a part of this big 5 at the start of the video, and this, I think, should remain true. However, we do need to wait and see whether this popularity remains, as we are supposedly entering a slightly slower paced section of the series. So what made the return of Boruto so popular was partly due to the dramatic change in character design behind most of the main cast, and in particular behind Boruto. This built up hype behind the series, and the first few chapters showing Boruto's new power, new villains, as well as a revelation behind the Himawari being the next Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, the series seemingly exploded, and everyone forgot about how they were hating the series before the time skip. Which takes me on to my next point, which is the fact that the series was somewhat hated by the majority due to the anime being an absolute horror show. This built up a ridiculously bad rep behind the manga, which was still peak fiction before the time skip, but people just straight up refused to read the manga due to how bad the anime was, or their predetermined mindset that the series was just trash. However, the series, or the manga at least, has been pretty solid, and I personally was a huge fan before the time skip. So I'm glad to see the fandom grow tremendously, rather than constantly fighting for my life whenever I said that I was a Boruto fan in any public setting. Anyways, that is probably going to wrap it up for this video. However, I might name this video part 1, since I'm willing to cover more manga that will likely rise as a result of these bigger manga coming to their conclusions. So make sure to leave your thoughts on which manga will be the next big thing in the comments down below, and I will be sure to cover them in a potential part 2 of this video. Anyways, make sure to subscribe if you want to support the channel, as well as see any more anime and manga discussion style videos in the future. If you did enjoy, please consider liking the video to get this pushed out to more people, and with that all said, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.